Before becoming heavily involved with security at Death Row Records, Reggie Wright Jr. worked in law enforcement with the Compton PD. So this is someone who witnessed Compton during one of the most turbulent eras in the city's history. And then, later, he found himself inside one of the most controversial record labels in hip-hop history. So let's start before Death Row Records, when Reggie Wright Jr. was wearing a badge in Compton. Long before Death Row became one of the biggest record labels in America, Reggie Wright Jr. was already dealing with some very serious situations on the streets in Compton. And this is important to the story because we're talking about a period when gang conflicts involving different Crip and Piru neighborhoods were a very real part of everyday life in parts of the city. During our conversation, I wanted to know about some of the well-known street figures that he encountered during those days. So I asked Reggie what it was actually like policing Compton during that era and who were some of the Crips and Pirus he remembers personally encountering.
So everybody done heard of Turtle and, of course, the Twins and all of that. And that's the guys at Santana Block. A guy named G-Ray. G-Ray was a killer. That was one in my era. He was from Acacia Block. But his brother got killed by the CB7Os. And, boy, he used to let those 7Os have it. On the Piru, the blood side, of course, I go into the little more era of James, Mob James. On the Piru or Victor Welch, which is Rick James. Huncho came around. I do other people, injustice, like a Keefe D and people like that, because I mainly only speak of the people that was in my era, which was really like early 90s, late 80s, where these guys pretty much was in the penitentiary by that time, because that rock cocaine era, it took a lot of brothers out. Y'all just don't know. Those dudes in the 80s, I can't think of one that made it unscathed. They out now. The good thing about it, all of them out, from the Tweets to the JJ, all of those dudes like that, JJ Ransom and Tweet, which was his brother and all of them, Pat, all of them, they were the ones that had all the money back in the late 80s or the 90s or the mid 80s. But they all home now, which is a good thing. But it took a lot of their time out.
Eventually, Reggie's story would take him away from simply policing the streets of Compton, and it would put him directly into the middle of the music business. And that's where our conversation moves to Ruthless Records. If you followed my recent interviews, you've probably heard several different versions of what was happening behind the scenes of Ruthless Records. Two names I specifically brought up with Reggie were Mike Klein and Animal.
Mike Klein put more fear into white music executives more than the Crips or the Pirus. That's the type of juice Mike Klein had out there. Mike Klein, in my opinion, I don't know y'all opinion on this because I haven't really been following too much. He helped Eazy and Jerry Heller through a lot of the BS that I don't think they would have made it past 95 if it wasn't for Mike Klein. The Animal Gentleman, I don't know. All I just know is we ain't ever been scared of no Ruth doing our time. As far as the dudes on the streets. So that stuff about that, I think he said something, sending the sugar away. I didn't hear the stories like that. I always heard it was the Samoan guys, to be honest.
Jake and John.
But I don't know. A lot of that is before my time as well.
Death Row Records has sometimes been portrayed as if everybody around the label belonged to one giant unified street organization. But the reality was much more complicated. Snoop Dogg came out of Long Beach, city by the sea, and he openly referenced his Crip affiliation in his music, and he let it be known that he was rocking that blue rag. At the same time, Suge had long-standing relationships with people who are associated with the mob Pirus in Compton. So that raises an obvious question. How did all these different personalities and gangs coexist under one roof? This became a multi-million-dollar record label with artists, employees, security personnel, and people from completely different neighborhoods constantly around each other. So were there ever any tensions between the Long Beach Crips and Snoop and the Compton Pyrus who were associated with Suge? I asked Reggie directly whether the street politics surrounding Snoop and Suge ever created problems inside Death Row.
There were incidents or run-ins behind entourages, but the dudes at the top pretty much controlled it because Snoop didn't want that issue. He was there to make his money. Suge didn't want that issue with anything with Snoop because Snoop was there hitting home runs. So everybody was trying to really make some money and be happy. Of course, there were tensions in between there, but the good thing about it, they were Long Beach Crips. This is where I always get in trouble. Because I know Crips are Crips, Pyrus are blood. But Compton Pyrus don't too much have any problems with Long Beach Crips, other than them just being Crips. As long as you ain't up there saying, what's up, blood, what's up, cuz, and all that, then you ain't gonna have no problems. Everybody just being there in their corner. Just like when you go to a nightclub, you know a dude is a blood or a Crip or something over there. As long as he don't come over there and disrespect you, ain't gonna be no problem. The ultimate goal is you had to control your people. Most of the people that were there were trying to get a check.
And this is one of the reasons that these firsthand interviews are so important, because eventually Hollywood is going to tell its own version of this history. And according to Reggie, Hollywood got quite a bit wrong in the movie Straight Outta Compton. When Straight Outta Compton came out in 2015, it introduced an entirely new generation to NWA, Ruthless Records, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Suge Knight. It's a great movie. I love the movie. But it's still a movie. Events have to be condensed. Characters disappear. Timelines get moved around. Over the years, several people who were actually around Ruthless and Death Row have challenged many parts of this movie. And Reggie Wright Jr. definitely has his own problems with the movie. One of the big questions involves the way Suge Knight and the people around him were portrayed, particularly during Dr. Dre's transition away from Ruthless. I asked Reggie what Straight Outta Compton got wrong. And according to him, there was a lot.
Dre ain't never put his head on nobody but a female. The way he made it seem like he had hands on one of the Suge homeboys and all that didn't happen. That's all I'll say. That incident that they had where Suge beat up the guy in the parking lot for a parking, those are the Suge Knight myths, that goes on. Suge was a bully. I ain't going to put no halo over the brother head. I don't do that. But Suge really looked out for those dudes more than he put hands on any of them. I don't know that he ever put any hands on any artists like that, especially of the main ones that we all know.
What about the brothers out of Linwood? Some brothers out of Linwood, he's supposed to slap around and they had a lawsuit behind it.
Well, you said Linwood?
Some brothers out of Linwood. What is it? Okay. Linwood?
I know the brothers, the Stanley brothers, and the
brothers.
They were from New York. What happened on that is, and that's why Suge really started putting his name out there, was because their exact words to him, because Suge just came from court on another case, right? In a suit and everything. And he came in the studio, and Alonzo, how phone bills were back in the 90s, especially from a business or a cell phone.
They were no joke.
And they were just sitting on the phone in the studio talking, running the bill up. And, Dick Griffey was on Suge's butt about the phone bill at the studio. So Suge walk in the studio and go, hey, y'all get off the phone. Y'all get off the phone. So he go back to his office and think nothing of it. Look on his camera. You see they still on the phone. He came out like, niggas, I told y'all to get y'all, off the phone. And then they told him, fuck you, this Dre shit. Y'all know the rest of them.
And there's another major Death Row storyline where separating mythology from reality becomes difficult. That's Tupac and his affiliation with Mob Piru. When Tupac joined Death Row in 1995, his entire environment changed almost overnight. He went from incarceration to being part of arguably the hottest record label in hip hop. And around Death Row were people with very real ties to Compton street organizations. Over time, Pac became increasingly associated publicly with people connected to Mob Piru. That's created a lot of debate that continues to this day. So I asked Reggie exactly what Tupac's relationship with Mob Piru looked like from his perspective.
QL was a firecracker, right? She started messing with one of my security guys, this guy named Fred Reynolds, the detective, the one that got the book out. Y'all need to do an interview and check that book out. He got, I can't think of it right now, but he got a great book out right now about Compton and stuff like that. Fred Reynolds is his name. But they were messing around for a minute. And so they, I was mainly a Suge guy with Suge. I wasn't one to be hanging around the artists. I was kind of like this with Suge, or managing and controlling the security company, and the guys doing that. But was that events with you? Whenever it was something with you, it was always like a problem, or they was in the studio. Suge really stopped in 95, 96, stopped really traveling with the artists. He mainly just took the Danny Boy and had him traveling out of town with us, to New York and stuff like that, and just handling business. You very rarely saw him and Dre out together in public. He kept to with his crew and stuff. Like the main, like the war shows and stuff like that, of course, would be there as a family. But individuals, man, it was really cliquish. It was really big clique.
And what clique did Tupac roll with the most?
The Mob, of course. He eventually, he is his own, the Outlaws, but then lately, the Mob dudes. I'm not up here to say he was claiming the Mob or anything. I don't think it. I don't know, but that's who he was the closest with.
Tupac's arrival represented the beginning of a new era at Death Row. But ironically, while Tupac was becoming the label's newest superstar, one of the men who helped build Death Row was preparing to leave. Dr. Dre leaving Death Row remains one of the biggest turning points in hip-hop history. Think about what Dre walked away from. Death Row had been responsible for The Chronic, Doggy Style. Then the label added Tupac. From the outside, Death Row looked unstoppable. But behind the scenes, things were changing. And in March of 1996, Dr. Dre officially separated from Death Row and eventually launched Aftermath Records. Over the years, we've heard several explanations for why Dre left. Money, business disagreements, Suge Knight, the environment around the label. Dre wanted more control over his career. Depending on who tells the story, you'll hear a different explanation. According to Reggie Wright Jr., what finally pushed Dr. Dre to walk away from one of the most successful labels in hip-hop history? Here's what he told us.
To be honest, K-Solo was there 93, 94, like that time, 94, 95. K-Solo, he was there, but I only saw him really on Sundays. That was the only time he really got studio time at Can-Am. Okay. Him and Bloody Mary, and there was one other artist. They used to have Sundays on lock. But K-Solo was always cool, laid back, quiet, and I don't really have many interactions with K-Solo, even though he and I talk periodically a lot on Instagram. But, knew him, saw him around, but he was real low-key, laid back, and he had Sundays on lock. And but those are the only days K-Solo, but he was never in none of those artist meetings where you hear all that. He stayed away from all that drama and that BS. Him and Boss Hogg, y'all remember Big Boss Hogg? Those two, your big CPO, y'all never hear no BS about them. They just worked other jobs and they would just stayed away. That's how Dre got tired. I give Dre a little crack here and there and all that, but man, Dre was the smartest nigga around. That it turns out. Dre said, him and DJ Quick, and he always did his name brought up in a little bit of drama and stuff. But those two was always, man, we just hear about the music. We just want to do the music. We ain't hear about all this BS that y'all. that's going on. We ain't about this. And Dre finally got enough. I think it was something else that he found out that eventually was the final straw. But other than that, Dre stayed in the studio at his house.
What was the final straw that broke the camel's back? What you think?
Miss Chalet, start seeping out, and he started learning, and she started pillow talking to Suge and telling him stuff, and Suge knew his every move. But Suge fell in love with Miss Chalet. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to put out Miss Chalet like no whore or no Disney. You know, I don't know what her motives was eventually, but Suge loved Miss Chalet probably all the way up till 2004. Yes, loved my wife. Got a tattooed on the nigga neck, and I love my wife.
In your opinion, is Suge misunderstood?
He deserves some of the rap. Don't put Halo on Suge. I just hate that people try to rewrite history on Suge, because Suge has did good things for people. And the main person that's writing history on Suge right now, I feel that if he didn't have his influence, Dr. Dre, of course, but the ability not to want to just move on to somebody else and go to Jimmy Iovine and them and say, hey, let's put this money up, let's get behind this man because he's a star, and do that, when they could have did like they could have did him like they did DOC. You know, just left him for hanging. I think Snoop has been on some conversation calls with Snoop and Suge where, since they supposed to been cool and all that, where Snoop had promised to shoot Suge for money. He gets on the phone and goes to him. And so that's the only reason why I'll be like, okay, if you ain't cool with me, you ain't cool with me. Just say that. But don't leave it like hanging. Don't try to make some people, when it's convenient, to say that we still cool, and then when you want to go and try to change up stuff like you've been cheated and you were done wrong. You, before Doggy Style was sold, $4.5 million was put up to save you from sitting between the nigga legs right now, getting your hair braided. In jail.
Okay.
You wouldn't have all those beautiful young kids that you have.
$4.5 million.
Boss lady wouldn't be with you. So thank niggas for stuff like that. That's just Reggie's opinion.
$4.5 million before the record came out.
Before Doggy Style came out. That's how much was allocated for getting bailed out and paying all those. It was 4 people on that. Y'all know the attorneys. Let me tell y'all the attorneys, and y'all look up the attorneys that's on there. David Kenner, Johnny Cochran, Don Ray, David Chesno, the chick Sean, and all that. And now, I mean, these were powerful attorneys on no brother. More importantly, I have said this a couple of times, I might as well go ahead and say it because Lonzo the homie, and I'll put it out. 380 killed that man. Snoop Body Boy had a 9mm. Y'all do some research on that.
3 names that longtime followers of West Coast street and hip-hop history will probably recognize are Bloody Mary, Red Rum 781, and B. Brazy. R.I.P. to all of them. Bloody Mary became known through banging on Wax and on the Bloods and Crips projects. Red Rum 781 became one of the most recognizable voices associated with the Blood side of that movement. And years later, B. Brazy will become another recognizable name connected to the street culture and West Coast hip-hop. Here's what Reggie Wright Jr. remembers about Bloody Mary, Red Rum 781, and B. Brazy.
Bloody Mary first, because she was around. Big James is the one that brought her around. This dude, Victor Welch from Fruitown Park Road. He had her and the gentleman that did Red Rum. They were doing something with them. They were the ones that worked at Sunday Crew. And Snoop got so much material with them. Actually, maybe not, because I heard Victor Welch stole a bunch of it. So they might, Red Rum and Bloody Mary were real tight. And they were some artists that was on Death Row that was, unfortunately, probably in the Day's Day or after Master P taught us how just to throw out a whole bunch of shit. You know, Master P, they might have got out, but to be honest, unfortunately, they probably would never got out with the Death Row roster that we had, you know, in the 95, 96, 97. That's why Suge was trying to come up with another label called Ghetto Records, where he can let the homeboys control and throw out. But distribution wasn't done, and it was hard to get in the mid 90s just to be throwing people out.
Right.
That's why Bloody Mary and Red Rum and the K Solos and all of them never came out. So B Brazy though, that was a dude from Denver Lane that my boys Big Y and Sugar Booger brought around. I fell in love with that dude. I love how he rapped and how his lingo, and he got still one of the hardest Pyro songs ever done, in my opinion. Called Like It Like That with the Relative off the Takeover. Okay. And after that, I was going to sign, I did sign B Brazy to do some things. And I was starting to mess with B Brazy, but that pimping in him too hard, and I got the best of him.
Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now.
I had an opportunity to be on Death Row. You know, Big Jake, my homie Big Jake, the one that got killed in Atlanta. That was my homie. Suge's right hand man. That was my homie. Me and Jake was real close. And Jake was always telling me, you know, come on, man, come over here. You know, I'm telling you, man, it's popping over here. He used to call us when they used to be out in the water in yachts, snooping him all over here. This is when Death Row was at its peak. Man, come over here. I'm telling you, I can get you a deal with Suge. But I was already locked in with my homie Rody with Funkin' It Up Records, so I couldn't go over there. But Jake used to hit me up all the time. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he came and got me. Him and Jim Bob came and got me from San Diego. I was out there stranded, out there doing some stuff out there. Called Jake, man, come pick me up, man. Me and Jake was real cool. And he was a good dude too, man. But you know, any kids that's listening, my thing will be, man, just connect with somebody that really loves the Lord. Connect with me if you have to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I give you the real on it because I know the streets like the back of my hand. I know it. I walked away from it.
Talk to these kids about the street and about joining the gang, specifically the ones who are just thinking about doing it right now.
Well, here's the thing. You know, anybody who chooses to join a gang is just looking for love. Either they're not getting it from home. They probably come from a broken home, broken setting, no dad in the house. And they just looking for love. But see, God is the ultimate love. God is never going to do you dirty. God is never going to steal from you. He's never going to hurt you or harm you. And the only thing that street gangs offer is hurt, harm, and danger. There's only two paths. And it's inevitable. You can't dodge it or you can't get around it. If you continue to stay and walk that walk, you're either going to be dead in the cemetery or you're going to be in the penitentiary for the rest of your life because there's so much pressure. You have to put in work. You got to prove yourself to make everybody think that you're worthy to be in this gang. So it's not worth it at the end of the day. You know, you youngsters got a lot of life ahead of y'all. You don't want to be in the cemetery at 21, 22 years old. You know, you don't want to take your mom and your dad through that hurt and that sorrow. So many brothers and sisters have just been, and it continues to happen, you know, because of that lifestyle. That lifestyle is a dead end, literally a dead end. So I would say, man, walk away. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Walk away. I was fortunate to where I didn't have to get jumped out of it because I was raised up in it. You know, I grew up where I grew up at. So we didn't have to get, you know, courted in and all that. They probably do that now, but we didn't have to do none of that. You know, but it's just not worth it, man. You have to make wiser choices and wiser decisions because this is your life you're talking about and you only get one life to live. And if you don't do it right the first time, you will regret it.
Let's play I Can't Keep Tripping. And what I'm going to do, Trip, is every once in a while, I'm going to just stop it. And I want you to, you know, give me an idea of what brought up that bar or that line, or maybe give us the story behind it.
Dear God, if you're listening, please hear my cry. ride, pay attention. I'm tired of doing dirt, this is my plea for redemption. I'm nothing but a street banger, crack slanger, twist a fat chronic sack to suppress my anger. I roll through blocks searching for those that smoke rocks. Put the strap up in your face, won't hesitate to give you a taste. I have no faith that stays on the run. At the tender age of 12, learn to blast a gun.
That's deep, man. You said you had no faith. So there was a time in your life where you had no faith, huh?
No, man, you know, because you be so controlled by the devil, you know what I'm saying, and be so influenced by other entities, you know, the women, the drugs, you know, that faith is not there. You know, you really have to have somebody come to you and really, really work on you. And at that time, wasn't nobody talking about the Lord or nothing. It was all gangbanging and dope dealing.
The market we're going after, we're mainly for the people. I mean, for us, the West Coast, there's a lot of talent around that guys really don't have the opportunity to have a chance to prove themselves. So for as Jeff Entertainment goes with the studio and the films, we're giving all the youngsters opportunities from all the neighborhoods where basically we haven't forgot where we came from. So we bringing all the talent back home.
I'm definitely going to do a future show on Suge Knight. He deserves a whole show in himself. He actually has a podcast right now from behind bars. Check it out. Called The Last Call or something. I don't know. Just type in Suge Knight podcast. You'll find it on YouTube. It's pretty entertaining. I listen to it every week. He gives us behind the scenes of what he believes, his truth. He gives his truth. Let's just say that. He gives his truth. But yes, Dr. Dre links up with Suge Knight. And they go half on a baby. They go half on Death Row Records. And this is my favorite time in hip-hop right here. I would say my favorite time in hip-hop started in 92, probably 92 to like 95, 96. That was my favorite time in hip-hop. Such a great time. The music to me was amazing. The music was some of the best it will ever be. And this is when Dr. Dre produced some of his best music ever. I mean, the Chronic album, Snoop's album, Dog Pound, Dog Food. That album is sick. I'm going to do a future show on the Dog Pound. That's a legendary group right there. I mean, he was working on albums for Nate Dogg. Unfortunately, it didn't really come out. The Lady of Rage, that was another one that didn't come out, man. We're going to have to do a show. I know I'm going to have to do a lot of shows, but I'm going to have to do a show on all the albums that were not released on Death Row Records. How about that? All the albums that were not released on Death Row. Man. But before the Chronic, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But, after Dr. Dre left Ruthless Records, the first time we ever heard him on the comeback by himself was on Deep Cover. And that's a song he did with Snoop Dogg for the Deep Cover soundtrack. And that was the first time I'm like, okay, Dre is back, and he's not with Eazy-E. He's not with Ice Cube. He's not with Yella. This is just Dre. And it was a good song. Yeah, and you don't stop, cause it's 187 on a motherfucking cop. And back then I didn't even like that song, and I don't even to this day. I don't care for it to this day, to be honest. It's obviously a classic, but it's not my favorite song. In fact, I like the one that Fat Joe and Big Pun did better. They did a Twins like 98 or something like that, and I think it was way better. Dead in the middle of little did we know that we riddled two men who didn't do diddly. R.I.P. Big Pun, man. But yes, Deep Cover came out, and then he hooks up with Suge Knight to bring out the Chronic, and the Chronic had, Corrupt, Daz, RBX, Lady of Rage, Nate Dogg, Jewel. The Who's Who. It's a classic album. I did a whole show on the Chronic album. So type in Dusty Vision Radio Chronic album, and you'll find it in my archives. Such a great album. I'm not going to get too much deeper into that album since I literally did a whole 45-minute show on it just about a month ago.
Death Row is going to be big, huge. We have the best acts coming out. Oh, not we. Look at me, like it's my label, really? This is Death Row, really. It is. But I'm on it, so it's mine too.
What I'm doing right now is I'll be putting out a solo album soon. It's called Overdose. It'll be out maybe the end of May. It's gonna be hitting.
And when's my stuff gonna
Back to what I was saying. My solo album will be out in May.
Next up was Doggy Style. And I remember there was no bigger anticipation for a rap album than Doggy Style. Everyone was waiting for that Snoop album. And when I mean everyone was waiting for that Snoop album, me included, and I bumped the hell out of it. I let the tape knock till my tape popped on the Snoop Dogg album, Doggy Style. Such a great album. I will definitely do a show in the future on Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, because man, that's a Long Beach representative right there. And Snoop is and was the epitome of Long Beach, and he represented us so well back then. Even to this day, he represents us well. But Snoop is bigger than Long Beach now. Snoop is worldwide. But back then, it was so cool that we had our own rapper. Like, this is our rapper, man. He's from Long Beach. It's so cool. But yeah, so let's see. So Death Row's cracking. You know, we all know the whole Death Row story. I mean, we don't have to go into that into detail. But let's see. Enter Tupac in 95 when he was signed by Death Row Records. He ended up collaborating with Dr. Dre on California Love. To this day, I do not like that song. I can't stand that song. The reason why I can't stand it is because when I was a kid, when it was out, I mean, they played that the whole summer. Like every time you turn on the radio, every time there was a video on, it was California Love. And look, I'm sure I'm the minority. I'm sure, obviously, millions of people love the song, but it was never one of my favorites. But I get it. It's a club song. It's a dance. It makes you feel good. Takes you back to being, you know, with the Zapp and Roger and all that. I get it. I get why it's a great song. It's a well-produced song. It's not one of my favorite songs whatsoever. But let's see. So yeah, Pac and Dre, you know, they do their thing. They collab. Dre produces a lot of the music for Pac's Death Row debut album, along with Daz Dillinger, who probably produced the majority of it, but didn't get the proper respects and props and credits he deserved. Daz Dillinger, that's another one I got to do a show on. There's so much show, man. I'm telling you, stick around to Dusty Vision Radio, man. Every week I'm gonna have something totally different for you because there's so much to talk about. But Daz Dillinger, man, if it wasn't for Daz, I don't know if there would be a Death Row. Bam, I said it. If there was no Daz, I don't think there would be a Death Row Records as we know it. But this is about Dr. Dre. So yes, we all know the story. Dr. Dre, they're beefing with Ruthless Records. They're going back and forth. You know, Dre is, ends up falling out with Suge Knight. Things just get rough at the Death Row Studios. Pistols are being pulled out. A lot of gang stuff going on. And Dre is just not feeling the vibes. He's like, I got to get out of here. So he decides to bounce. Dre is out, and according to most accounts, he left with nothing. He left with nothing but a peace of mind. Now, once again, the Straight Outta Compton movie, they got to get all dramatic. I don't think it happened the way it happened in the Straight Outta Compton movie, where Dre like turns around all dramatic and be like, aftermath, and was like fucking goes into the smoke and
I'm starting my own thing. You can't put a price on peace of mind. I'm out. I got all this nigga's money. I got everything. Get the fuck out. Go. So what you gonna call that bullshit? Aftermath.
Oh, once again, if you believe that movie word for word, fact for fact, I'm sorry. You got to come check us out on NWA Stories with Lonzo, because we are the real Straight Outta Compton. We will give you the real. All right? NWA Stories with Lonzo on YouTube if you want that real stuff and not that Hollywood stuff. But Dre ends up parting ways. Tupac ends up dissing him on several tracks. Tupac was calling him, saying he was part of the LGBT community, saying, words that I'm not going to say on my YouTube channel, claiming that Dre was doing things, you know, behind the scenes with other men and all that. Who knows if that's real, or who knows if that was just Pac being upset and Pac being Pac. But Dre leaves and he starts Aftermath. Notice Dre has had several reincarnations of it. He started with World Class Wrecking Crew, did amazing things there. Went over to Ruthless Records, did amazing things there. Went over to Death Row Records, did even more amazing things there. One thing they also had to do when they joined Ruthless Records is they had to indirectly inherit Eazy-E's beef with Dr. Dre. What do you mean, Dusty? Well, I mean, it was going down, man, and things were popping in the street. Literally, when I say popping, I mean popping, pop, pop. So Bone Thugs, they had to be down. They had to be ready for anything. And once again, according to most people in the know, they were down for their mess.
Yeah, Mr. Eric Wright, Eazy-E himself, gave us when he was going through it. He pulled us up under his wing when he was going through his drama with Death Row Records. He was like, yo, it'd be great if y'all could stay out of this East Coast, West Coast, or this weather, because we were watching him go through it with the Death Row. You feel me? And whoever else. And it was a few situations where he actually advised and emphasized that, yo, man, you dudes stay focused on your craft, stay focused on the music, and if you can, stay out of this beef, this nonsensical beef that's going on between all these rappers. Now, Eazy-E actually did do that. He advised us to the best of his ability, the best of our ability, to stay out of that nonsense.
There was a time, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, where the Ruthless camp and the Death Row camp, they came to blows at some sort of golf tournament, and a big old brawl ensued, and Nate Dogg was swinging golf clubs at Crazy Bone or whoever was in the, I don't know, I'm just picking a person, but it was going down basically between Ruthless and Death Row. Man, what a crazy time. So yeah, they had to inherit that beef. I mean, they got this Pac, on them because of the Thug thing. They're beefing with, Crucial Conflict, 666, Twista about who created this choppy style. So these guys came in off top as like, what I'm saying? Like, damn, dog, against all odds type of stuff. And here they are with this style that spawned so many people. I think this sound now, not going back to even Young Thug, and then I say this with all due respect, because I think Young Thug is one of the better musicians of this generation. I think he's a spawn of Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if he listened to Bone. I'm assuming he probably did, but he's a spawn of Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I say that with respect. Like, anybody who doesn't know hip hop, whatever. Like, if you don't like Young Thug, keep your opinion to yourself. I think Young Thug is one of the better artists, you know what I mean? Like, that of this past 10, 15 years. So that's just my point. But they had all the, they were Bone Thugs were against all odds, man. Just everybody wanted a piece of Bone Thugs. It was that style though, bro. That style was mesmerizing. That rapping, and then you're actually harmonizing. Wait a minute. So you can actually kind of sing, and you guys sound kind of good. Whoa. But when I first heard Bone Thugs, let's see, it had to be, of course it was Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and it was like every third song on the box. My best friend lived in Compton at the time, and we would watch The Box. The Box was the shit. The Box, for anyone who doesn't know, most of you do, a lot of you do from the 80s, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, but The Box was this station on cable that you paid like $1 for a song or something like that, and then they would play your song in whatever queue. It was like a jukebox. It was the box. It was a jukebox. You know what I mean? And every town, many towns around the country had a box or a jukebox. It was called the Box in LA. But I heard the Box. I mean, I heard Bone Thugs and Harmony, Thuggish Ruggish Bone. It was every other song. It was like every other. It was that and Pyru Love and Thuggish Ruggish Bone, Steady Dippin' was sprinkled in there. A lot of, keep in mind, this is Compton, so a lot of people in Compton. Like I said, every city had their thing. So if you're in Long Beach, you ain't necessarily seeing what's in North Hollywood, you know? So, but it was one of those things, man. It was one of those things. It was dope. I remember sitting in front of the box, dude. Such a good time. Oh, man. Getting nostalgic again, guys. Getting nostalgic, man, because there was something about just sitting down and watching a video, because now we can watch any video we want to, right? Anytime, any video, boring, like move on to the next. So I think we take advantage of that. But back then, man, you waited. Oh, shit, that, man, I want to see that Bone Thugs and Harmony again. If you didn't have a VCR, you couldn't record it. So you had, you wanted to watch it again. But yeah, so that song blew up. It was everywhere, right? Before that, they released an album though in Cleveland. Was it Faces of Death, right? Yeah. So they already released an album, and you listen to it now. It's really interesting hearing their style and how much they grew just in a couple short years. But that first album, man, with Thuggish Ruggish Bone and For the Love of Money, gotta get that money, man. I mean, that was it right there. That was the single. Standing on the corner, straight slanging rocks. There goes the mother cop. So I dash, I ducks, and I hides behind a tree, making sure the motherfuckers don't see me. Now a fat sack of rock. Hell yeah, I stuffed them. Police on my balls. I had to pause, and yeah, it's still mother F 'em. Cause the game is tight is my game. Easy motherfucking E, Eric Wright. It's all the same. R.I.P. to Easy E, man. You did it, dude. You did it, bro. With this group, you did it. You saw something in them, like that maybe the rest of the world didn't see. And I'm telling you, one person's vision, man, can change the world. And these guys changed hip hop, and it's all thankful. It's all due to Easy E. Let's keep it real. And I'm sure each member of Bone Thugs and Harmony would tell me the same thing. They say they would not be where they are today if it wasn't for Easy motherfucking E.
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from an inmate at the California State Prison, San Quentin, California. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Hi, what up, Ali?
Hey, what's the deal, man? I'm just walking it down as usual, getting closer to the day. Freedom is near.
Yeah, man. Yeah, can't wait to shake your hand, brother, in person. Let's talk a little bit about some of the bigger stories that have happened as of recently. Are you familiar with Suge Knight's new podcast, where he's recording a podcast from prison, kind of similar to what we're doing right now?
Yeah, I've seen it in my news feed on my tablet, a few of the episodes. One, him talking about Akon and, a couple other things. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I haven't heard it, though.
Yeah. What are your general thoughts on Suge Knight, though? A man who started in the hood, had a rough upbringing, according to most, builds himself up to become the CEO of a $450 million record company. Snoop Dogg, Dogg Pound, Tupac had the world in the palm of his hands and lost everything, and now he's sitting behind bars. What are your thoughts on the Suge Knight story in general?
I'm kind of torn. I'm probably not the best person to ask about that, because one of the people that really helped me come up through the prison system and get my mind together and get me right is a very...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They're like brothers. So
who is that? You got
I've always been on
that
side. I said, okay. So, I have a little bias towards him in some regards because one of his closest friends is one of the guys that mentored me early on through prison and helped me get my mind together and get straight. So, yeah, I just try to look at it from the point of view of, here's someone who suddenly had the world put into his hands, and it might have been too soon. You have to have character to be able to really handle that type of responsibility. You know what I mean? To yourself, to your fans, to your employees. So I think it was just way too much, way too soon, and we saw how that turned out. But I think that I don't know him personally, but I think that he does have some business acumen. You know what I mean? He does have some kind of business smarts to be able to pilot a company from nothing to 450 million. So I have to give him some props in that respect. His affairs outside of his business might have got him caught up into a lifestyle that we're all trying to escape. So it's just very unfortunate to see someone that I wanted to work for at one point in my career up in here with me.
Yeah. What are your thoughts going back to the 90s when the whole East Coast, West Coast thing was going on, and it led to an unfortunate situation where Biggie and Pac both lost their lives? What do you, as a hip hop fan, as someone who was following the culture back then and now, what were your thoughts then, and what are your thoughts in hindsight of the Tupac, Biggie, East Coast, West Coast media created situation?
Man, I was torn. I was torn down the middle because I love both of them as artists and what they represented. Man, I think Biggie was easily one of the greatest storytellers in the history of hip hop, and then Pac being just the voice of a generation. You know what I mean? The heartbeat of a generation. And to lose both of them back to back like that, when I was, at that time I was like 17, 18 when that stuff was going on, and I was really deeply enmeshed in music. I was in the rap game. You know what I mean? These were people that I wanted to work with and work for. And then to see those two young lives cut short, it just it hurt. I ain't even gonna lie. I had a ceremony of my own when Pac died. I went and poured out a little liquor, got smoked. You know what I mean? And just shed a couple of tears. Like, man, this cannot be true. This was before it was a common thing for rappers to be getting killed like it is now.
Last night on our live show, we discussed the P. Diddy situation. I'm going to play a clip, and I'm going to stop it every once in a while and give you my thoughts.
I was reading the post earlier. 50 Cent said something I totally agree with. And when the feds come knocking on your door, they already got a case.
Done deal. Feds come knocking at your door, it's a done deal, baby.
Then the feds come knocking, it's pretty much a done deal. They have like a 98, 95%. Well, I don't know what their percentage. I know it's high.
Very high.
Very high percentage of conviction. So the feds come knocking. They start spending federal money, start investigating. Yeah, Negro, you better start getting your affairs in order. My understanding, Antigua has no extradition agreement with America. So that means he can post them over there and watch this whole thing unfold and may never come back. Sound like some Russell Simmons.
I was he took the words right out of my mouth. Has he even came back to America? He's still.
Y'all know about Russell Simmons, right? If you don't know about the Russell Simmons situation, go down that rabbit hole. I don't think bro has came back to the country since those allegations. Overseas, right?
I think he dipped in. He may dip in. He never got charged, to my knowledge. He's been accused, but he's never been charged. So before they hit him with the 1-2 punch, he stepped off into the into the island and started chanting.
They leave because they know they are wrong. And look, Russell Simmons is a legend in the music business. Diddy is a legend in the music business. But these guys know what they did, and that's why they left the country. Allegedly.
And something else. Actually, I want to play this clip. This interview with Howard Stern has since gone viral. It is an interview with Usher from about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, where Usher was talking about his experiences with Puff Daddy when he was a teenager. So I'm going to play this. It's about a minute, 10 seconds or something like that. Then I want to get your reaction on it. This is Usher on the Howard Stern Show from August 22nd, 2016.
Shout out to Howard Stern, first of all. Radio legend. One of the reasons I started doing this. But here's Usher on Howard Stern.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
He was 13 and he lived with Puffy for a year. We'll start there. Keep going, Usher.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s.
Flavor Camp. That's pretty weird. 13. And where's his parents? Anyway, let's keep going. Usher on Howard Stern Show.
Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
saying?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was.
What lifestyle? What lifestyle, Usher? Let's keep going.
But I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. It was,
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I understand. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
So Usher was 13 and had a lot of women around him who I'm sure were taking advantage of him at that time. But let's keep it pushing. Usher on Howard Stern.
And I didn't necessarily understand.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie was there.
Lil Kim. Craig Mack.
All these people.
Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Is that what that song was really about? Huh? Time for new flavor in your ear? Huh?
They're hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans. Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They ain't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
See, that's strike one right there. How does his parents not know about this? How is he so far removed from his parents at that age that they don't know about what's going on? And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the problem. The parents. It's not Diddy's fault. Diddy's a piece of trash, allegedly, if he did what he did. How the heck is this 13-year-old boy so far removed from his parents? If my son was in the music business there at 13, there's no way he would be that far removed from me. And that's why they try to keep you away from your parents. That's why they try to keep the parents away. You've heard stories, you've seen movies about, kids getting straight from their parents. And dude, the parents are getting pushed out so they can do what they want to do, allegedly, with these young artists.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
what
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
He said, hell to the no. I would never let my kid go to a Puffy camp. And this is before all the allegations came out. This is 7 years ago, people, 2016. So 7-8 years ago. Would you let your kid, as a father, Usher, go to a Puffy camp? Hell no. Well, let's get my man, my dude, my homeboy, my mentor, my co-host. Let's get Alonzo Williams' opinion on Usher on Howard Stern back in 2016.
He said, hell no. Talk to me, Lonzo, when you hear Usher talk about that 7 years ago.
When you hear him talking about it, he definitely, I'm willing to bet he has some interesting experiences with some interesting people. He can't speak on it because somebody could go to jail.
Yep.
Okay. He was 13 years old. Somebody can get a reverse case, Bill Cosby, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
At 13 years old, if he was a girl, there would be some cases. It would be some charges filed right now.
Y'all hear that? That's probably the deepest line of this whole thing. If he were a 13-year-old girl going to these parties, we would be having a different story right now. But since it was a boy, these things got pushed under the rug. Let's keep it pushing.
Somebody would be filing some charges.
Come on, of course.
Because he's a guy, we're going to laugh this off. It's no big deal. He has hell of experiences. He got to sleep with some older women. You know, he learned some things he shouldn't have learned right away. But hey, he's an usher. What the hell? You know, I remember seeing a documentary on, what's her name? Drew Barrymore. She was like 9-10 years old being at Studio 54.
Yep. You know about Drew Barrymore, famous actress, Charlie's Angels, E.T. She was in Hollywood back in the 80s and 90s. She was going to Studio 54 at age 9 and 10. No telling what she was seeing.
Hanging out. 9-10 years old. I mean, she was young. Right after Firestarter and shit, man. It's amazing what people will let kids do.
You know, going back to that double standard you talked about earlier, Lonzo, how if Usher was a 13-year-old girl, it would be a different story. You know, that's in real life also, not just in Hollywood. I mean, I was 16 having sex with 19, 20, 21-year-old women.
Yeah.
I was just a player. It was just it was what it was. But yeah, but it would be different if I was a 16-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you...
And that's the truth. I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I'm not, lying. None of that. When I was 15, 16, I was getting hit on by 19, 20, 21-year-olds. I was getting advanced upon. Look, I'm 15, 16. I don't have enough balls to walk up to a 20-year-old girl and be like, hey, let me get your number. I wasn't that player. For the most part, it was them coming on to me. So this happens. Now, if I was a 16-year-old chick, be a different story, huh?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's a double standard in America? Like, boys aren't as important as girls are when it comes to that.
I don't think it's a matter of importance. I think because being a male, you are considered a sexual aggressor. And if you can aggressively talk upon a grown woman to roll in the hay with you, then more power to you. Whereas women, they seem to be a little bit more demure, submissive, and they can be bullied. People feel they can be bullied into doing things. So that's why I think women tend to get a pass or be people more responsive to a woman being sexually abused by an older man, because you might feel bullied, intimidated, threatened, whereas a 16-year-old man, a 16-year-old kid, if he rolled up on a 16-year-old woman that's a little older than him, shit, everybody happy. She can teach him how to break her back, and he can have something to talk about for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And the funny part is, Lonzo, even looking back, I wasn't even the pursuer. It was the older woman that was coming at me.
Facts. I was 15, 16-year-old getting pursued by older women. It just was what it was. Oh man, I have stories for you guys. I'm gonna try to tell some stories sometime where it's not gonna break any YouTube rules, because these get explicit, and some of the terminology that are in these stories. I'll figure a way to tell you some of these stories in the future,
which is so interesting.
I've seen it recently, man. One of my buddies hang out not long ago, and women was checking on his 16-year-old son. Hey, he ain't but 16. Okay, he ain't ready for what you got. He ain't ready for them stretch marks yet. He ain't ready for that. That's
he ain't ready.
No, don't do it like that. Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. It did give me a thing, though. I will tell you that I've always loved older women since then. And even the older my wife gets, I tell her she just gets more sexier to me. She's 46 right now. She's never been sexier to me. You know what I'm saying? She's sexier to me now.
Hey. Some things do get better with time, man. And
that is true. The older my wife gets, the more I want to bang the F out of her. Like we've been having a lot of marital, what do they call it? Because I'm trying not to use the sex word. I'll just spell it out because YouTube hates that word. But the older my wife gets, the more I just want to bang her. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Am I the only one? Comment down below. The only one who likes older women? kind of like fine wine. I don't know. Give me like a chick in her late 40s, early 50s. I'm in heaven. Forget that little 19-year-old, 20-year-old who doesn't know. Like, oh my God, can you Uber me to your house? Man, F all that. Give me a 51-year-old grandma, stretch marks, who walks with a limp because she got shot back in the, like, give me something like that's what I need.
Well, before we close it out, Puff Daddy's attorney team just released a statement, I'd say within the past hour and a half, just before we started the show. But I'm going to read it off to you, and let's see what we come up with at the end. But here's their Puffy's attorney team. Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residence. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated.
I read good, don't I? That boy can read, can't he? Damn, listen to me over there. Listen to me.
Operated with authorities.
Some of you motherfuckers can't read for shit, and it shows in your text messages and your comment section. Like 90% of the people comment in my comment section. Y'all need to go back to school or something, but let's keep it going. This is Puff Daddy's attorney telling us, you know, that what happened was excessive and all that.
Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. The unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Last sentence there. Has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. Has his name already been tarnished bad enough, Lonzo? Do you think he'll ever come back from this?
It's really hard to come back from these type of accusations. Really hard. Even if you are innocent. Even if you were, let's not say innocent, even if you were never charged, it is still very hard to come back from these accusations. Look at Michael Jackson. Michael was never charged. And to this day, I think Michael was doing stuff with kids. And so do most of you listening. No matter how much you try to protect them and no matter how much you love playing man in the mirror, you know, dude, most of us, unfortunately, up until Michael's passing, we suspected that Michael was doing some stuff that he shouldn't have been doing. Let's just keep it real.
Really hard to come back from something like this.
Let me see here. He had to step off from Revolt. He had to step off from his vodka. He ain't nobody really messing with him. He losing all the invitations to the parties. Ain't nobody want to go to his parties.
He ain't getting invited to no more.
Ain't nobody going to the parties. Puppy, I can't mess with you, bro. He can't give a birthday party. He can't give a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, okay?
So yeah, that's about it. If you want to check out the full interview, subscribe to NWA Stories with Lonzo Williams on YouTube. We do it every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on NWA Stories with Lonzo Williams. And please do join that channel if you enjoy old school West Coast hip hop. Specifically, Lonzo Williams is a pioneer, and we dive deep into the true story of West Coast hip-hop, and we also touch on a lot of topics as well. So definitely check them out. Also, please download the Rumble app. Rumble. I'm gonna keep asking you guys over and over to do this every show, so you can get tired of it if you want. Go ahead, download the Rumble app, and please subscribe to Dusty Vision Radio on the Rumble app. The Rumble app is an uncensored version of YouTube. Basically, that's the easiest way to put it. Like, YouTube be tripping sometime with their censorship guidelines and all that. You want the uncensored version? Go over to Rumble and subscribe to Dusty Vision Radio. Also, subscribe to my second channel, Dusty Vision Radio, right here on YouTube, just in case anything funky goes down with this one. Go subscribe to my other channel, Dusty Vision Radio. I post something there every single day. So please do check out my second channel, Dusty Vision Radio. I'm at 2,500 subscribers right now. Let's try to get that bad boy to 3,000. Let's keep it pushing. I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, I'm on Facebook at DustyVisionTV. I have a group with over 10,000 people in it, and I post stuff in there. Gets a little controversial. You know, Facebook kicks me off every once in a while, but whatever. Go to DustyVisionTV on Facebook
And if you're on Instagram, I know this is a lot of information, guys, but if you're a true supporter, Instagram, Dusty Vision Radio. And if you want to send me a super thanks, send your boy a few dollars. There's a little $sign right in front of you on your screen that says super thanks, or super chat if you're listening live. Throw your boy a few dollars. I'd really appreciate it. We'll continue to follow this Puff Daddy situation, this P. Diddy situation on my channel, so please do stay tuned. One more time, hit that like button, and if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.